Hey everybody, Chaz with Fisher Blades. Today we're doing something kind of fun. We're going to be taking a pig and we're going to be testing our blade, our BECKWITH COVERT live blade on that pig carcass to see how well it cuts, how well it stabs, to what depth, under various conditions. Before we get started, I want to say that for those of you who are uneasy with what we're doing with this pig carcass, I understand, but we're going to be using every bit of that pig to eat, either ourselves or our dogs, so none of it is going to go to waste. And another note, this is not meant to be a replication of what it is like to be working with a live resisting opponent. It's really just to measure the efficiency and the cutting capability of our blade. It is, again, not a replication. It is a simulation designed to do a very specific thing. So stand by, we're going to be doing some cool stuff. But before we get going, let's review the BECKWITH COVERT, some of its functional features, what we're going to be doing to the pig tonight, and how we're going to be measuring the results. So the BECKWITH COVERT itself, as we've discussed in a bunch of other videos, has a grip to blade geometry that is slightly canted. It has an aggressive thumb ramp. It has a prominent finger guard. And what we're going to be doing on the pig is some penetrating cuts, some thrusts, and some reverse grip edge in draw cuts. We're going to be doing on a pig that has both a leather jacket, and then we're going to take the leather jacket off and do it on naked skin. And then when we measure the results, we're going to be using one of our trainers that we use here for our blade training, so that when we're going into those wound channels and trying to measure the depth of those cuts, we're not going to be using a live blade that would kind of mess up our results. So let's get started. Okay, so check this out. These are the result of some slashes and some stabs through a pretty thick leather jacket. As you can see, this all got shredded. One of those slashes was a draw cut, and it went in, and I'm going to measure it in a minute, but I just wanted everybody to kind of see what that looked like through a leather jacket with the BECKWITH COVERT. We did a couple of abdomen stabs. We did a deep penetrating slash in saber grip, and then I did a reverse grip edge in draw cut across the shoulder. So we're going to take a look at those in the depth, and I'll tell you what they are as we do them. So on the stabs, those happened down in here. And I can tell you right now, because I can feel, why don't you come in on that camera a little bit more? I can feel ribs in there, and they went all the way through the rib cage and cut some ribs in every one of these. And that was through leather. That was through the leather jacket. This was a slash that we did, and that depth, not great. It went through the skin, of course, and it went in probably, let's see, we'll call that about an inch on this slash, but that was an earlier one that we did for the intro. Then we did this slash right here, which cut down to really the fascia, some of the ligaments in the lower shoulder area. That was this cut. These were all through leather. And then the last cut we did, which was a draw stroke cut, as if you were being grappled from the front and you were implementing your blade on organic matter on a back. That was to here, and that depth is pretty significant. So that, you can see, went in about 2.5, 2.25 inches, roughly. Not quite to bone. It went to bone here, actually, and then it met up with this earlier slash. So that's how we did through a leather jacket. Now we're going to show you what it does with no heavy, with no jacket, just on naked skin. So let's see how that goes. Okay. Okay, everybody, we did 2 stabs to the neck area. Both of those, I think, went pretty deeply. The first one is about 2¼ inches. The second one went all the way through the wall of this part of the neck. So that, is 3 inches at least. And then we've got 2 slashes that I did to the arm area. First one went down to bone and encountered here, and that depth is roughly, peek in there and check that out. That is roughly 1¾ inches before it hit bone. The second one was even deeper. I felt that as that hit bone here. It cut through almost the entire muscle here and got to about 2 inches there. But the point is it went to bone. And then the draw stroke, the draw cut on the back is really significant. It went in uh, 3 inches before it hit some bone in there, the clavicle right there, and then it kept on going and went in. Check that out, try and get in there close. It went in roughly 2¾ inches with this draw stroke here, and of course it was very long, went all the way down and really opened them up. So that's the result of the knife without heavy clothing on it, without a heavy leather jacket. Kind of what I learned from that is, for sure, the heavy leather jacket impedes the penetration a little bit, but honestly, those are all potentially lethal cuts in a self-defense situation. And even the penetrating slashes do a pretty good job. If it's a lot of clothing, you might want to consider stabbing. But in either instance, the BECKWITH COVERT went all the way through that, opened this guy up, and you're in a much better position after all that happens than you were before. So that's good. Okay, everybody, this is what we have after a bunch of people had their turn on poor Wilbur here. Variety of knives, including the BECKWITH and some other testing knives. So much fun.